Hello and welcome to Move or Improve with Debbie. I'm Debbie Miller, your host. Welcome to the show today, and we're going to pick up another city to retire to. We've been talking about lots of them, and you can listen to previous podcasts on all the different ones. But today we're going to talk with Kari Wilbanks, and she lives in one of my favorite places in the entire world. She's just outside of Sarasota, Florida, in Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area, and we're going to talk about the beaches, and I'm going to want to hurry up and get on the plane and fly right down there because it's so wonderful down there. Kari, thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Debbie.
Okay, so we're going to probably get in a competition here about what we like best about the Sarasota area, but I have a feeling we're both going to agree on just about everything. But what do you like about living in Sarasota? You're a native to the area. You're born and raised there, seventh generation. That's awesome. What can you tell listeners who may not know the Sarasota area or who may just vacation there and they are thinking about moving there?
Well, the fact of the matter is, not only do we have some of the most gorgeous beaches, the most beautiful scenery, but we've also got some of the best people, I think. Everyone is super friendly and super resourceful, and we've definitely got the aloha state of mind. We're very relaxed, and the thing is, we've got something really for everybody, be it you want to spend your days on the beach or you want to get away and go see some horses. We've really got something for everybody. And I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of the other beach areas. You could actually ride horses on the beach up in Bradenton.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very partial to the Gulf side rather than the Atlantic side, but I love the Gulf. There's just too much going on that you never get tired of anything, really. You can do all kinds of stuff. And if you want to be busy, you can go downtown Sarasota. And if you want to be quiet, you can just go to the beach. And what is your idea about the best living on the Gulf side? Because people are going to be coming in there and they may have visited, but are there any little insider information you can give them?
Oh, absolutely. We've actually got some really cool condos, and what I love about those are, especially for a seasonal resident, you've got the added security. But otherwise, I'm a huge fan of if you fall in love with Siesta Key, we can definitely get you in there. Anticipate spending about $200,000 kind of entry level for a smaller condo. But what I love about owning a condo on Siesta Key is you don't have to worry about parking. Parking has become a horrible issue for Siesta Key Beach, especially during our season. And when you're able to ride your bike to the beach or just walk over to the beach, it definitely keeps you nice and relaxed.
Oh, well, that's good to know, because I know some places with the baby boomers moving there, it gets much more crowded and that sort of thing. So the temperature, tell us about temperatures year round.
Well, we don't really have a winter, and that's what I get.
I hope not.
That's what I get from a lot of my travelers is, believe it or not, I didn't see snow until my husband took me to Alaska about a year and a half ago, because we don't get any snow for the most part in the winters. We usually see 60s and 70s. It's absolutely beautiful outside. We do hit the 80s and 90s in the summertime, and of course the real feel feels like 100, but the thing is, you do get used to that.
This is true. Well, I have to tell a funny story. We were down at Siesta Key for a New Year's vacation one year, and we decided to have dinner at a little restaurant down the way to say goodnight, because it was our last night there. And we went inside, and it was about 70, 72 outside. It was just perfect, beautiful sunset. We went inside, and the waitress said, "Are you sure you want to eat outside?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And she said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I can bring out the heat lamps." And I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "This is heaven for us. This is just beautiful weather." They just looked at us like "Oh, are you all right? Do you need a jacket? We have sweaters, we have a heat lamp." But we just laughed about that because it was like 72, one of those beautiful Florida sunsets. I'll never forget how funny that was, but it was a nice way to say goodbye to Siesta Key and that area. But at any rate, I'm glad there is no snow. What about the taxes down there? What county is Sarasota in?
Well, Sarasota is actually Sarasota County, and for the most part, your taxes are considerably less expensive than what you're seeing in New York City. Like, for example, my mother lives on 7 acres. She's got just under a 5,000 square foot house, and she pays about $5,500 a year in taxes.
Wow.
To put it a little bit more into perspective, I own a rental house in city of Northport, which is South Sarasota County, and those are about $1,200 a year, and that's without the homestead. So it depends. It really depends on the size of the house, what kind of amenities you've got. I mean, I see them all over the place, but when people tell me about what they're paying in New York for taxes, I mean, my jaw hits the floor.
Well, that's why they're all moving.
Well, we
So
don't have state income tax either.
what would you pay for maybe like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo very near Siesta Key? What is a reasonable price range with a good view?
I would say about property taxes for a little two anticipate less than $1,800, and that's when you're pretty close to the water.
And what about the price, the cost, the actual condo itself to purchase?
Let's see. I've got options starting around the 200s, and those are the thing is like that's for the more resort style feel. I mean, I could get you into something over off like Bee Ridge Road or something where there's not too many frills. If you just want to be close to the beach, you're not going to spend too much time at home. I could get you in there for less than $150,000.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I may be ready to sign something when we're finished here. But anyway,
I got the papers for you.
So what about medical facilities? I mean, you're close to the beach and in Sarasota, the downtown area is beautiful, but how far away is a hospital and doctors and that sort of thing?
Oh, we have doctors all over the place. And the fact of the matter is we have the best cardiac unit over at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. People travel from all over the country to receive this caliber of care. Wow. I was actually born at Sarasota Memorial Hospital.
Wow. Okay. Well, so is most of the area walkable? Do you need, obviously, when you go down to St. Armand Circle and that sort of thing, you don't really need it. You can walk around a lot, but I guess to go to the grocery store and stuff, you probably need a car.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely. And that's because they've planned things out really well. It depends on whether you choose to live in like a little PUD area where there's a bunch of homes, or if you do want to live downtown, then absolutely everything is walkable. We've got condos a stone's throw away from the from the Whole Foods.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice to know. It seems like the closer you are to things, the more likely it is that you're going to want to move. I know baby boomers like the walkability factor a lot, so that's good. Is it getting super crowded and now that the baby boomers are starting to retire and move down there? Because Sarasota is a very popular spot, but what about traffic and congestion? Do you have a lot of that?
We do, especially during season. Think spring break, because of course everyone's families come down. But for the most part, it's very tolerable. You're not going to see anything like what you see on TV over in New York or over in California, where it's bumper to bumper traffic. We do of course have a little bit of congestion going on the island or coming back off when people are going to work or going home, but otherwise, knock on wood, I usually don't have any issues.
Okay, so you're in the Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area, which is like the southern Sarasota, so to speak, but what are the housing prices and what's the quality of life there versus Sarasota? If somebody doesn't want the downtown city hustle bustle of downtown Sarasota, what would make them want to look at the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte area instead?
Well, I believe in my heart of hearts that we've got something absolutely amazing down here in Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte. Port Charlotte's actually getting the Sunseeker Resort that's owned by Allegiant Air, and that's definitely going to be a destination. Now, Punta Gorda, I think, is one of the best kept secrets of Florida. And the reason for that is we've got a very small, quaint downtown. The buildings are all brick, over 100 years old, and there's just so much history, and everything is way less crowded.
It's very charming. It sounds like a nice place to not only visit, but to move in and live there. So, in other words, if you don't like the hustle bustle of downtown Sarasota, there are other areas still close by, but with much more interesting.
And the fact of the matter is the cost of living in Punta Gorda is much more affordable, much more economical. And again, we've got some of the best people, I think. And I think that's what makes places feel like home.
I have to stop for a minute and clear my throat. Sorry, Joe. Okay, I'm ready. So what about the shopping and the restaurants and the art museums, nightlife, that sort of thing in not only Sarasota, but also Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda?
For the most part, we're blessed. We've got the John Ringling Museum. That is absolutely incredible. I love that they do different traveling exhibits. Then we've also got Mote Marine Laboratory. That's also up in Sarasota over in the St. Armand Circle area. And that's a fantastic place for people to get up close and personal with wildlife. And the fact of the matter is they do so much good for the creatures in the ocean because they do rescue, rehab, release for the dolphins or the manatees that get hurt. And they're always out testing the water, looking for threats and that kind of fun thing.
So what kind of, music, restaurants, nightlife kind of thing do you have in not only Sarasota and Siesta Key, but even Venice is close by and Punta Gorda. What have you got to offer?
Downtown, all the downtown locations will actually have live music, usually 5 days or 5 nights a week. I apologize. One of my favorites is downtown Punta Gorda. The walkability of downtown Punta Gorda is just phenomenal. We've got the Celtic Ray. They've actually just done a really cool addition that they were just a 2-story tavern, and now they're a 2-story tavern with a huge outdoor deck so that they could have concerts indoors and outdoors. And if you're not into whatever music they're playing that night, which I'm always into that music and I'm a very low-key individual, we've also got Dean's, and they've usually got some really up-tempo music.
Awesome. So if somebody's thinking about Sarasota because of the beach, chances are that they may be considering a place like Destin with its beautiful beaches, or some other Gulf area town that it has charm like Dunedin or whatever. So what sets Sarasota apart as far as you giving it brownie points for being best place to live?
Well, for one, we've always had one of these top 10 beaches in the entire world.
It is. It's like confectioner sugar. It's awesome.
Yes. The sand is so soft. And when you mix that with the downtown life and everything like that, I think it's a no-brainer. Because the thing is, when people are thinking about Florida, they're thinking about Siesta Key. Nobody knows what Destin is.
Well, if you're in Alabama, you know what it is.
Yeah, but it still gets a little cold up there. We don't have that.
Well, this is true. And I don't think it's as easy to get to. Well, I know you have to fly into like Fort Walton Beach or whatever. But yeah. And I've been in, Venice is another town that's very charming down in that area where you are. It's very charming. The little shops along the way. And so I think it's got a lot to offer. And Sarasota is really, really good. And sounds like a good place to retire.
Absolutely. And something fun to add is Venice actually has Casperson Beach. And if you go out early in the morning, if early mornings are your thing, you can find some really